Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back to your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, guys, we are being silenced. Listen, there is a lot of great individuals within this community, and it seems as though a lot of them are over the target. One of those individuals has been Digital Asset Buy. For those that don't know, his account has been deleted off of Twitter. This is very, very interesting because he was the major accelerator, if you will, around ETHgate, really kind of talking about it heavily, putting a spotlight on it, and it just blossomed out. Obviously, yes, with the help of Johnny D and so many other individuals from the space as well, but Digital Asset Buy was one of the greats, and now his platform is gone. His platform over on Twitter is gone. The XRP community and everyone needs to come together and help alleviate these problems because everyone needs to have a voice. And again, when we are talking about something as big as ETHgate, there is going to be a lot of silencing. They don't want a lot of the information that is getting put out to be out there in public. And Digital Asset Buy was one of the major accounts. As you guys do see here, this post is from a suspended account. He is one that has been quoted quite a bit around Steven Narioff. And for those that don't know, which you should, Steven Narioff has been very, very vocal about the major connections around Ethereum, the corruption. There's been a lot of things coming out around ETHgate that has been very concerning, to say the least. But now we're starting to see individuals from this space being targeted and silenced. I don't believe that this is just a mistake or anything like that. No, I actually think that there's many people in this space that are over the target right now, and they are putting out a lot of content on this and putting a spotlight on all of the corruption. And I do fear that their platforms will essentially have the same demise that Digital Asset Buy has had. Now, again, as a community, when we come together, I've always said that we are unstoppable and we can seriously do anything. I mean, hell, look at the 70,000 plus that filed the claim against the SEC with Johnny Deaton. That's huge. And again, I do think that we actually helped a lot around the SEC lawsuit. But now we need to come together and help those that are a part of the community that have been very vocal around ETHgate and things like that. Because listen, we can't have individual silence like this. We can't, especially ones that are putting out extremely valuable information regarding ETHgate and putting a spotlight on the blatant corruption of a government agency and also one of the largest projects within the space. Now, beyond this, I do want to talk to you guys about a few things. So as you guys do know, this video from September 5th talking about, and by the way, this is September 5th, 2022. I included it in a video recently as well because we've seen Steven Narioff actually responding back to it a whole year later. And this is from Nerd Nation Unbox. Ethereum co-founder on Ethereum Transparency Interesting Listen says the foundation is against releasing a list of names of early contributors who were allocated millions of Ether. Just to keep you guys up to date, I'm going to play the clip real quick. I'll even put it on 1.5. That way it's a little faster. But listen closely to this because I do want to talk to you guys about this list in this video.
Not to harp on this, but I kind of want to come back to this, the question that you didn't want to answer. You don't need to tell me an answer to it, but maybe you could explain some context to why it's a touchy question or why it's inappropriate. The question about whether Vitalik was wrong in deciding to allocate millions of Ether to early contributors. I mean, I literally have no idea why that's an unanswerable question. Just because I'm naive.
Simply because there is a thread on Reddit at the moment which discusses this, and I've made my position clear as to various things. But the problem is, like many things in this world, they're not necessarily directly related to this particular point, but more to other administrative matter which we're trying to address at the moment. And because we're trying to address them at the moment, it wouldn't be appropriate for me to discuss them. Now, when that's addressed, then I'll be more than happy to address it. Simple as that.
I mean, I kind of understand, but like at the same time, it seems sort of like a non-transparent defense. And I think of Ethereum as this like highly, almost religiously transparent platform. So could you give any more insight as to why you can't answer that?
Sure, because I personally believe that that list should have been made public and transparent, and clearly I'm overruled in that topic as part of the organization. So I personally, I'm totally agreeing with you here. I personally think all the names should be public. I'm on that list, by the way, so I'm cool with that. By the way, none of the reason also why it's a bit of a non-issue is because none of this ether has been sort of taken out, if you will, from the Ethereum pre-sale, right? It's all been generated on top of, so nobody's got, their ether taken for someone else and whatever. This is not the case at all. It's more about, how do you address transparent governance? And as I said on that thread on Reddit, forgot my exact words, but I said it was one of those what's the word? That's not reference. It's one of those topics that people will go back on and study as how good of a job we did in being transparent. And I think we can always do a better job in being transparent. I mean, I myself am for complete 100% total open transparency of everything.
Now, this is from the CCO of Ethereum. And like I said, Steven Arioff already responding back to this, right? Like saying, I'm one of the only people who have this list. He's one that already has all of the documents tied to this. He said that the documents are stored in many places and they are safe. We definitely need to make sure that this list, if and when it does come out, because I do believe that it will come out, it's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be interesting. And this is going to be a bombshell moment. And the reason why I say that is because I think some of the names that are on that list are going to put things in motion around major investigations. I mean, it's gonna open a can of worms. Let's just say that, right? But beyond this, the reason why I bring this back up is because of this post here from Steven Arioff. Now, he's actually responding back to Preston Byrne. If you guys don't know, this is an individual that was on that list. But we do see, wait, what? Let me see if I got this right. Now, just full transparency, this is the post from Preston. He says, I was on the list, offered something like 13,000 Ethereum from the pre-mine. I turned it down because I didn't want to owe anything to Joe Lubin. Turns out what I really needed to worry about were former Ethereum Foundation guys who held onto the list for a decade because reasons. And he's talking about Steven here. He's taking a shot at Steven and he's saying, what really set off alarm bells was an email from Ethan Wilding, which used the language pursuant to our arrangement before offering me the wedge. I replied, I note your email refers to our arrangement. The proposed allotment is news to me, a pleasant surprise if anything, as I've never had discussions about nor have I requested an Ether allocation from the Ethereum team at any point in time. I asked the foundation to redirect the coins they would have given me to Vlad Zamfir's team. I'm sorry if I'm saying that name wrong. No idea whether they ever did. Fortunately, I kept receipts. And then down here, we just have a few responses talking about like how somebody said it would have been like $20 million or so and how he would have cashed out and spent it on nonsense or put it into a startup. And then he also says like real whales, no, which is an individual talking about the idea of pursuant to our allotment. So definitely interesting, but nonetheless, this is his response. But we do see Steven saying, let me see if I got this right. You tell me, or you tell the world you were on a list that I wouldn't release to protect people on it. Then you question my motives for holding on to this list from the exact month of an email you saved in post. Let's each confess the sinister reasons why we saved the list in email. I'll go first. I back up my data. Now your turn. God will forgive you. Now let's get real. I'm not an Ethereum Foundation guy. Though many good people at Ethereum, like you, I didn't trust some like Ethereum Joseph Lubin, right? This is the one in question around this entire situation. So I had added reason to keep stuff tucked away. Unfortunately for me, the distrust was proven correct, including Vitalik Buterin, aka Crypto Judas. And by the way, he drops a URL. This link takes you to this article written by Preston from April of 2018 saying whether Ether is a security. Very, very interesting. And decentralization is also up in question because who are getting these massive drops of Ethereum? I mean, 15 or what was it? 13,000 Ethereum? That's a massive amount. And we have a few great responses down here, right? First off, so the ICO list has people on it that didn't actually buy. Does this mean the list isn't the actual list, just a pre-list before the ICO with Joe Lubin? But then also we have a response, which I actually spotlighted. This is a great response by Y2 Socrates. I actually have it over here. Shout out to YG Secrets for this. People think XRP Army is the radical token-loving cult. No, it's just an investment. I hope it goes up. What I am radical about is losing to Wall Street because of corruption, paid off congressmen letting corporate appointed regulators run the country, our state-run media and its propaganda, a central banking system which is a giant lie and a plague to any concept of fairness and freedom, lies, 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 and the same cast of people over and over. In just the saga of ETHgate and SEC Gov versus Ripple, XRP holders have been exposed to all of this. And these things are core to the problems of the world right now. I could not put things better into words around this entire situation. This is exactly why. This entire situation, listen, I know that you guys hate the idea of talking about ETHgate so much on this channel because you guys do want to get fundamentals. You guys want to know the news, things like that. A lot of this, yes, it could be wasted time. But for the most part, the reason why we put a spotlight on this is because of what we, the XRP army, the XRP community, have gone through. You know, if you were here, you know, pre-2020, you know how hard this entire battle has been. I mean, it's truly remarkable how much time has passed since December of 2020. Everything that we have seen come out around ETHgate has been shocking to say the least. It doesn't surprise me, but some of the information has been shocking. Now we are starting to see community members being silenced. Those same community members that have been putting out incredible insights, and they are right over the target. Now they are being silenced. I question what is really going on here. What are the connections? What's truly, like, what's happening behind the scenes? And by the way, Johnny Deaton did put out a great insight on a few things around the disguised whales, because a lot of people were saying, like, keep in mind that Johnny Deaton said that Steven has receipts and has even seen them. He's talking about how people should not jump to conclusions around this. He only seen a slight few things. But again, we're talking about not so much the actual disguised whales, because a lot of them, there was no AML and KYC involved, but related to some of the few things that we have seen so far, it seems as though there was already an allocated list of those individuals that were kind of, I want to say special, if you will, that were actually given out major amounts of Ethereum. Like, for an example, we do see I'm one of the only people who has the list of the ETH given out to contributors in quotation marks. I actually think that these were people that were either paid off, maybe they were bribed. I don't know, right? Like, you can come to your own conclusion on that. But this list is the names that we are actually looking into. There's still a lot of disguised whales. There's a lot of people that we don't know about around this ICO. This is why, you know, decentralization around Ethereum is up in question. We honestly don't know who those names are. But when we actually look at a few things, like, here's a few direct quotes, right? When asked, will there be a limit on the amount a person can invest in Ethereum? Joseph Lubin responds, a person can buy from any number of different identities. We may limit the unit size of a sale just to make it easier to disguise. Like, this is a direct quote, by the way. This is from an actual direct, like, quote from Joseph Lubin. For investors who want some privacy and are planning on investing several $1 million worth, then you could do that in multiple identities. He assures that Ethereum won't be requiring a real-world identity for sales of Ether. We can create a pseudonymous email and identity on purchasing. He pledges for whales, anyone planning on investing several $1 million worth. Lubin recommends to do that in multiple identities and says that we will ask for a real world identity in the form of an email address just so that we can make sure that everything works smooth. It's questionable on if any of these email addresses could be tied back to people, but this is wild, right? Like, this is wild, and it really kind of puts decentralization in question. This is why I've always said it. And of course, we do see, to be clear, I have no insider information, but if the audio tape is accurate, it would likely mean several things. There's no disguised whale list. If there were, it would defeat the whole purpose of being a disguised whale. There are only email addresses, many of which are likely created for the sole purpose of the ETH ICO. Like I said, there is no way that this process was recommended by a reputable law firm. Whatever note Joe had in his pocket before the ICO would not have recommended the course of action described in the audio tape. The only way to find out who received ETH at that time of sale is to investigate the email addresses and who they belong to, or get more info from the founders themselves. Either Hinman missed all of this while engaging in the due diligence he described in his deposition, or he chose to ignore it. He testified that he did in fact inquire about these things, although he claimed that he could no longer recall any of that information. Yeah, that's questionable. By the way, in 2018, Preston again wrote that article where he talked about Ethereum's security or currency status. It would appear that a lot of enough ether to move markets, or if the system migrates to proof of stake, ooh, interesting, enough to play a meaningful role in determining consensus on a block by block basis, was sold to not a lot of people. Yeah. This is very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. And beyond this, right, for those questioning when this list is going to come out, we actually have Steven's lawyer, right, from what we've looked at. Steven is on his own timetable. He's waited 4 long years to clear his name. The day is coming when all will be revealed. Stay tuned. By the way, Steve has nothing to cleanse himself of other than the mud the government dragged him through. Just saying. So yeah, we're waiting for this to come out, because I honestly think that this can of worms, when it is opened, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. And I think that this is also why a lot of people are being silenced. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, though. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you guys did enjoy the video, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Peace out.